Whoa! Yes! This is working. Like every moment, there's a
Episode
little
3,
small
Part
victory
2.
of the Pastors of Payne show, and I, nothing will keep us down. I think we should run like a sort of like comedy of this because both of us are trying to we'll figure out how to use this software to run this stuff. And so there's these frustrating moments where, as Father O'Brien appeared 4 times on the screen, and I just took pictures at him and
Yes,
laughed the whole time.
despite having multiple advanced degrees, I am
Yes.
unable to figure out
Uh-huh.
a basic Zoom call.
Just a basic. Well, welcome back to another episode of the New Pastors of Pain Show. New and improved advanced technology.
Is it really improved? Is it really improved?
Well, we're going beyond the bounds of just Payne County. Yes, I used to say this is going out to Payne County and the world, and now it is because Tulsa. I mean, there was a newspaper called the Tulsa World. I mean,
Center
it's
of the universe. Center of the universe
boom,
is in
right
Tulsa.
there in T-town.
I
Right there
was
in
just
T-town.
there
Well,
the other day. My sister visited last week, and
yeah.
I discovered that in order to see things in Tulsa, people have to come visit me.
I know.
My
It's
sister
about,
came. I went to like new restaurants I hadn't been to. I went to the Center of the Universe. We went to the Jenks Planetarium. Have you seen this?
what?
Jenks High School has a planetarium, and on Tuesday nights for $7, you can go and watch like a movie on the the dome kind of sky thing.
Can you look
Um,
out of the? It's
no, it's not
just
an
they project.
observatory. It's not an observatory,
Okay, that's what I thought you were going to say.
but it was
OU
cool.
has an
It was
observatory.
cool. It was cool. It was cool. So yeah. Anyway, things like that where I'm like, oh man, I
I'm
But
not
that
going to
used to
go.
happen. That used to happen in Boston too. When like people would come visit me in Boston, and I'd be like, "Oh yeah, let's go to Paul Revere's house. I know right where that is." No, I don't. Um, anyway, that's how you see the place you live when people come and visit.
Yeah. Well, if you're just tuning in to this and you're a Holy Family parishioner, or you're a college student and you're like, "What is my priest doing? And who is this other guy?" This is the Pastors of Pain show. We were on Pete FM again on Catholic radio, and just sort of like people heard us all over this area. And then we were on Catholic radio throughout the state of Oklahoma, St. Michael radio, which is having this benefit here in the next couple weeks. It's
I'll be
Theology of the
on the
Talent.
I'll be on the panel.
I went last year. It was really fun. And then again, we're on Spotify and Podbean.
Apple
And
Music.
yes, okay, just it's everywhere. And we're thankful to especially Mike Malcolm and for getting
Yeah,
this
Mike
Rob
Malcolm is
Ponce.
our communications director at Holy Family. He's helped us. Mike Malcolm is the new Rob Ponce.
Yes, the
No one
deacon
can
candidate,
replace Rob Ponce. Nobody can replace
the
Rob Ponce.
deaconarian Rob Ponce.
That's right.
Well, okay, so I hope you all enjoyed last week about politics. If you didn't, need to go back, go in the footnotes of the show notes and listen to Father O'Brien's talk he gave at Holy Family Cathedral, and go out there and vote. Or as the song says, go make a difference. You can make a difference. Go make a difference in the world. Is that pretty much
That
accurate?
was amazing.
Thank you.
Truly.
So anyway, we dusted off the politics, and we hope you're going out and voting. I'm going to vote. Father O'Brien is always.
I voted.
Oh, did you really? You're sort of like the Chicago Kennedy vote, like vote
I
early,
love
vote
voting
often.
early. I love voting early. When I lived in Stillwater, I would go to the Payne County Election Board, which is right at 6th and Duck.
Yeah.
It's the Payne County administration, so you can vote early. So the election is the first Tuesday of November, but I think it's the Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday before that, you can vote early. And I love voting early because I'm not sort of bound by that one day. Like if you don't vote if you don't vote early, then you have like this one day to vote. And I like having a little,
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
Okay. Well, I want to take a little detour, skirt, skirt,
Oh, okay.
into, something we call a sabbatical. You had the privilege, and the reason why we do this podcast is, one, we like to hear ourselves talk. Two, we also like to catechize people. Father O'Brien has a master's degree in education. I'm what my mother used to call a smart mouth. So did Holly Goodwin at St. Pius X School. You're a smart mouth, Mr. Walkulich. And thank you. I know it now. I'm a humble smart mouth. And we also like to help people understand sort of life and priesthood and the church, and cover all this in 28 and a half seconds. Now, there's a growing cool trend in the Diocese of Tulsa. And the cool trend is not burn out. Am I right or am I wrong, O'Brien? I see
No,
your
that's
eyebrows
true.
moving.
That's true. No, we want, and our bishop, who's wonderful, our bishop over the summer, actually on Pentecost Sunday, came out with his new pastoral letter, which is called, it's a very creative title. It's called Jesus is Lord,
What?
because he is.
Yeah.
And so the document lays out kind of his vision for the next several years in the diocese, including some initiatives. And one of the kind of the very first initiative is priestly flourishing.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've talked about before, and it's, I don't know that it's a good thing in the church, but like parishes depend heavily on their priests. And
Yeah.
so if your priest is prayerful, organized, energetic, good, and we're kind of moving the ball forward, then chances are your parish is going to be in pretty good shape, and your parish is going to grow. But if your priest is burnt out, if your priest hates the world, if your priest, hates people, your parish is going to struggle. Like even
Mm-hmm.
a really like thriving, rich, beautiful, the priest matters a lot. So anyway, the bishop kind of has prioritized priestly flourishing, and part of that is, our continuing education, our fraternity
Yep.
with one another. That priests we're encouraged to live together if we can. Um, we are encouraged, to take our day off, to have leisure, and part of that has been an increase emphasis or availability of sabbaticals.
Yes. Now, I was the experiment child. I was forced by my vicar of Rain to go on a sabbatical. He said, like, he's basically said, well, I'll try to keep his name anonymous. It was B. O'Brien. Wait, that's too obvious. Brian O. No, just kidding. He didn't force me to go on my sabbatical, but you know what was great, because we're in the same priest group, and I was coming to the end of this building project. If you haven't been to St. John Catholic Student Center in Stillwater, Oklahoma, it's on the pilgrimage route coming up. People are going to be coming out here on pilgrimage, and you can come out here too and stay for mass with me and other priests. Anyway, so I was nearing the end, and it was suggested to me to take a sabbatical because I had been ordained 13 years, and it was totally refreshing. Like, I, not, I mean, it wasn't just like go off and do what I wanted. My sabbatical was prayer, recreation, friends. Prayer, recreation, and friends. And that's what my spiritual director and I set up of, going down. I went to the John Paul II Institute for Healing in the
So
Spiritual
this was
Life.
last
Yeah,
summer
last summer.
2023.
Yeah, for 30 days. And I drove down there and I got to see friends along the way to Tallahassee. And then I sort of drove up the coast and saw some friends along the way. And then while in and I hung out with my best buddy Chuck Slagle, who lives in Williamsburg, Yorktown. Got to see the 4th of July. And then oh yeah, all the Revolutionary War stuff was so magnificent. Just and then went to Ireland for 5 days and did live music
Mm-hmm.
in Dublin
Mm-hmm.
and pubs and lived in a 800-year-old Dominican house with a bunch of other Dominican priests. And they played music and we ate together. There was all these seminarians that were there, and I would, like that. They're like, well, I don't. Ah, well, Father, you know what? I really don't see Dublin all that much. And I said, well, let's go to the long haul. And there's like, where's that? I was like, that's not how Irish people talk, by the way. And yeah, I
Are
know.
you making fun of my people?
Well, no, the Mrs. O'Hara down in Oklahoma City is probably like that little boy. He doesn't know how to talk like an Irishman. Anyway, um, so anyway, I got to, and then I went to Medjugorje, came back, road tripped, went on a fishing trip, and it was just absolutely refreshing. It realigned a lot of stuff. It gave me opportunity to relax too. Even I would say one of the benefits of it was to be away and let somebody else, Father James Porter, be in charge.
Mm.
And I knew nothing what was going on. So you had the opportunity to go this summer, and maybe your parishioners don't know, and they think you just went off on a 2.5, 3 month vacation, the cray cray vacation.
It wasn't that
What?
crazy.
I can't, what? Didn't you do a 30-day silent retreat on your sabbatical?
I did. I did. Yeah. So I left. I really enjoyed part of the benefit of my sabbatical was it was in between assignments.
Oh
And that
yeah,
was something that I asked for, like, because so basically I don't know, a year ago or so, the conversation started about my possibly moving. Um,
I know.
and I wasn't quite sure, like where, like exactly where I was going to move, or even if, I mean, ultimately
Yeah,
that's
broke
up
up
to
the
our
band.
bishop.
I remember.
That's
Band
that's
broke up.
ultimately up to our bishop, and we take a promise of obedience, that we'll go where he sends us. And so it's not, none of us, we don't sort of lobby for, ooh, I want this parish or that. Um, and so when it became clear that I was going to probably moving, I think I was at a place, I'd been a priest 17 years, I've loved every assignment. I've had 3 assignments: Christ the King for 2 years, Bishop Kelly for 9, and then
Comments for
Stillwater
life.
for 6.5.
Go
And
Pioneers.
I've loved each of those assignments, but I kind of had gotten to a point I was pretty tired, and um, yeah, I think my prayer life was pretty average, maybe below average. Um, and the bishop saw that, and I saw it, and Father Gary Castle, my good friend, who's our vicar general, he saw it. So that started the conversation of could I have some time off? And I think I have enough self knowledge to know. I think I would really struggle taking time off if I was coming back to the place. Like, I think I would have trouble sort of unplugging.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so it just worked out very providentially that I was going to move to Holy Family, and was going to do that in July. And so could I leave Stillwater like a little early to have the time off to get in a better place to start the new assignment? And so I left Stillwater in mid-April, 2 weeks after Easter, and then I had 3 months. I had 3 months off, and it's not sit around. I had kind of multiple priorities. I wanted just to rest. I wanted to do a retreat, and then I really just wanted to like see my family. I think one of the challenges, crosses of being a priest in Tulsa, as great as it is like I'm not near my family. And so, when guys get to, I'm just going to pop over to my mom and dad's, like I don't have that. And a lot of our priests don't, I mean, I say that I could drive to see my parents in a day.
In Houston.
We have guys from, Nigeria and Vietnam and Mexico. So, I mean, I have it better than those guys in that respect, but
Yeah.
I just wanted some time and to see friends and
See
just
Marty and
kind of
Peg.
get a clear head. And so I left in mid-April and drove down to Houston and spent about 10 days with my parents. And really, that was just like decompressing. Just every day, I would celebrate Mass with my mom and dad. I would pray at the church. I would take a walk.
See, wait.
Um,
Did you go to St. Martha and Mary Lazarus Friends of Jesus Catholic
Not
Church?
really, not a lot in those first days because I just kind of wanted to be away from people. Because every time I go back to my home parish, it's a beautiful
Oh my
thing, but
gosh!
people,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh!
I was like the first priest ordained from the parish, and so people are like get excited when
Did you
the prodigal son returns.
did you sleep in your kid bed?
I had multiple bedrooms during my childhood, so I don't really have like a set space per se. But anyway, so I did that, and then I went to Italy for a week
From
to
Houston.
see from Houston to see
Yeah.
our good friend Father Michael Pratt. And what's interesting is people are like, "Oh, Italy for a week," and it was great. It really was great. But it wasn't. That was not by far the highlight. I loved seeing Father Pratt. I loved being in Italy. It was very prayerful and wonderful. But then I got back from Italy, had another probably 5 days in Houston, and then like the road trip began. So I drove 8,000 miles this summer.
What?
Um, I drove 8,000 miles
Eight
because
thousand what?
I drove Stillwater to Houston and, drove all over Houston, seeing things, went over to Texas A&M one day for a little retreat day. And anyway, just beautiful. Went to baseball, a lot of baseball games. Well, then I drove from Houston to South Dakota and I spent a month at a retreat center in South Dakota called Broomtree Retreat Center. It's about 200 acres, owned by the Diocese of Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
I have a question. I have a question.
Yeah.
Was it silent the whole time?
So they call it a silent retreat. It was the spiritual exercises of Saint Ignatius. Um,
Okay.
so it's very silent. So that the only part of the day where I would speak would be we had mass every day. And so sometimes I would preside at mass, but there was no homilies, no preaching.
Oh,
Um, and so I would, yeah, so I would talk at mass like you would, the responses and the Eucharistic prayer and such. And
you,
then I had
you didn't just do open your hands and they're like,
yeah,
and with your spirit.
the Lord be with you. Uh, and then basically like 45 minutes to an hour a day of spiritual direction. So I had a wonderful spiritual director, a very holy woman, um, who came recommended to me. She was actually the reason that I went to Broomtree. This woman is has helped a lot of priests over the last several decades, and helped me tremendously. So I get to this is just I'll just tell some stories, man. I get to Broomtree first day. I got there on a Monday night, and then I slept, and the retreat actually started the next day. So I get there on Tuesday morning. I go downstairs and and there's my spiritual director, and she says, I meet her, and I said, I'm Father Brian O'Brien from Diocese of Tulsa. It's really nice to meet you, and I'm glad, I appreciate you like kind of fitting me in. She's very kind of in high demand, and she looks at me, and she like grabs me by the shoulders, and looks right into my eyes. She's as old. I'm 6'2", 300 pounds, and she's tiny, and she goes, God is delighted to have you all to himself. And I just thought, this is going to be different. This is going to be quite, this is going to be a different kind of, this is going to be a different kind of thing. And just beautifully over the next, over the next 30 days. I mean, every day you're praying, lots of holy hours. So 4 to 5 hours a day, with the Blessed Sacrament. Time to sleep, time to exercise, a lot of time just to read. And just I mean, I have so much to say. I mean, I slept like probably that first week I slept like 9.5 to 10 hours a night.
Whoa.
I mean, I haven't done that in years. Uh, it anyway, just so the rest was beautiful, but then just the prayer time. And I'll tell you probably the biggest fruit, and I've shared this with you, but I don't, and I shared a little bit in a homily while here at Holy Family, but I I didn't realize a lot of the grudges that I was holding.
Whoa.
Um, I, we've talked about like Irish Alzheimer's. We forget everything except the grudges. Uh, it and really, and so one of the early days of the retreat, I'm with my spiritual director, and and she said, oh, so what's like holding you back from a deeper relationship with the Lord Jesus? And a lot of my own stuff, right? My own sort of stubbornness, my own, I would say kind of working too much was holding me back. It made for like less prayer time, less quality prayer time. But ultimately, it came down to like I'm kind of like mad at a lot of people. I'm just
Oh,
holding on to some grudges, and so when that started, I mean, so she had me make a list um, of everyone that I was holding some grudge against, and I start making a list, and it's some family, it's it's some people like from high school, from college, from seminary, from Christ the King, from Bishop Kelly, from
from your
Stillwater,
podcast?
from yes, people I lived with. Well, anyway,
That's
I start
me.
making this list, and my list was there were 80 people
What?
on my list. And it ranged from I've kind of told this story numerous times, but like I think these are the two best examples. There was a guy when I was in middle school. I'm in seventh grade, and I'm walking down the hallway, and he was sitting on the floor, like with his back against the wall, and his legs were out. Well, I was walking past him, and I walked over his legs. I was on my way somewhere. Well, he
Yeah.
lifted up he lifted up his leg, and I tripped, and I fell to the ground, and I face first, face planted on like hard cement school floor, and I chipped my tooth, and it was really embarrassing. It was very painful. Well, I go to my high school reunion. I went to I think it was my 10-year, 15-year high school reunion.
Uh huh.
And this was years ago. And I see him, and I thought, I hate that guy. Like, I hate that guy because of what he did to me in seventh grade. So I start making my list. I'm in South Dakota, and I'm making my list of people I'm mad at, and he comes to mind. So
What?
here I am holding on to this particular like
Grudge.
grudge from seventh grade. I was 12, and now I'm 48, and I'm still mad at this guy. So anyway, that's one example. But then the other is just like family. I mean, people, I mean, just over time, I love my family, of course, but you're working through these grudges. Anyway, so this is I think just the great fruit of my sabbatical. Um, what I said, like, what am I supposed to do with this? And she
Hmm.
says, here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna go in the chapel. It's just you and the Lord, you and the Eucharist, you and the Blessed Sacrament, you and the Lord Jesus, and you're gonna call to mind one of those names. Just start at the top and work through it. I said, okay, and then what? She said, you're gonna ask the Lord, Lord, help me to love this person like you love them. Help me to forgive them
Wow.
like you forgive, and
What?
to pray I'm actually looking at my
Oh,
journal. It's just so there's so much here. Anyway, Lord, help me to love them like you love them. Help me to forgive like you forgive, and help me like to wish them well wherever they are, dead or alive, to wish them well. And do that, pray that until it's over, until you have forgiven them. And I said, well, how am I supposed to know if I've forgiven them? And this is what she said. It was so beautiful. She said, if you're in the chapel just by yourself, you and the Lord, if you could picture them walking in the room and you're genuinely glad to see them, then you're there. And
oof.
so over the course of the next 28 days, I worked through that list. And so I prayed with 3, 4, 5 names a day for 28 days. And dang it, I got through the whole list. And
Shoot.
I have never been like more free in my entire life. I've never. All of those grudges were gone.
Shoot, man. That's beautiful.
Yeah. And so people listening, right? Lord, help me to forgive, help me to love this person like you love them. Help me to forgive like you forgive. And Lord, I wish this person well.
Wow. Well, what? Okay, let's take the next step. So after you finish a 30-day silent retreat, what do you do with your life? I mean, when I did my 30
So
day,
I could have come back right there and been totally happy.
yeah,
I could have started a Holy Family the next day, but I still had 35 days or 34 days, I think, left.
and like 3,000 miles left.
Oh, I had no idea how much I was going to drive. I actually thought I thought I would drive like 4 or 5,000 miles, and I ended up driving 8,000.
Okay, so we cross paths, but no, I mean delay cross paths at the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown.
Yes.
What
So
were you
maybe we
doing?
save it. Maybe we save this. Maybe we save the next.
You think so?
Well, we only have 2 minutes. We got like 2 minutes left. I
Okay,
can't.
great. But maybe we should
I
make
have
an
to tell you about
episode.
every baseball stadium I went to.
Well, you know how we always talk about pilgrimages? I think
Yes,
this would be.
you're
I think
good
a
at
baseball diamond
pilgrimages.
is a basilica of America. Okay, so
There's
how
just a
did you?
lot. Yeah, there's just a lot more. There's a lot more to share. I really want to share the fruits of my.
Give us one last thing that was like when left your.
I
What did you
learned.
do?
So there's an hour prayer that I pray every night that I want to share with everyone, and a lot of people do like an examination of conscience at the end of the day, and I do. I recommend that, and I think you do too, to like go over your day. Well, like, what do you do? At the end of the day, you've screwed up in all kinds of ways, and I was mean to this person, or I'm impatient with this person, and the prayer I pray, I actually have it on like a little note card, and I stuck it to my wall. I'm recording this in my room at Holy Family, and it's 5 feet from me. And my prayer at the end of the day, Jesus, repair what I have done badly and supply for what I have left undone. Jesus, repair what I have done badly and supply for what I have left undone. It has changed my stinking life.
Oof.
At the end of the day, I sleep. I pray that, and knowing, Lord, St. John the 23rd, like, Lord, it's your church. I'm going to bed. And I just know, I trust that the Lord is going to repair what I've done badly, a lot of things, and supply for what I did, like what I didn't get done. Big pile of papers on my desk and emails I didn't get to.
Yes.
Oh goodness.
Well,
So
that
anyway, there's so
wow,
much, man.
that's
There's so
for you,
much.
for you all out there. That's an episode of Pastors of Payne, and we just tell you to tune back in, download us, listen to us again. Peace.
We are out. Have a great day, everybody. God bless.